Good morning, everybody. What's going on? What's going on? How's everybody doing out there? I always turn to my right when I'm starting the show, by the way. Always trying to make sure the levels are good, make sure everybody hears me all loud and clear. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Let's just say this. Never a dull moment around the Los Angeles Lakers. Is that fair to say? Can we at least say that? Can we always say that every time you think, that's it. There's not really that much to talk about around Lakers basketball. Always something else to be, obviously to be talked about. Obviously something to hit on, and we got a lot of stuff that we're going to get into today. So I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. I do have a guest today, so things will go probably a little bit faster than usual. Maybe spend just a little bit less time reading some of the comments, just because I'm going to be trying to, obviously accommodate to the guests, but I'll do my best. I'll do everything that I can. If you got thoughts on the show, thoughts on the topics, anything that you want to hit on, just put it in the comments and I'll do my best to get to it. But I do appreciate you guys all being here. And if you guys can please subscribe to the channel, we'd greatly appreciate that as well. All right, let's get started here. Let me give everybody just a quick rundown of what we got going on for the show today. And I know we're going to hit on a bunch of topics. Obviously, there's no way to avoid this. Today there's going to be probably more of a conversation than you guys ever want to have on a front office, but I do think it's important. I do think it's significant. So something to keep in mind here. Yesterday, finished the show. I went out to Lakers practice yesterday. I haven't got a chance to do that in a while. It was awesome. Really, really cool to be there. Got a chance to listen to Luka, ask questions to Jake LaRavia and Luka, JJ Redick right in front of you as well, getting a chance to talk. While I was there, the news went down about, Joey Buss and Jesse Buss. So changes in the Lakers front office. We'll talk about it. Some dysfunction. I think that's a proper way to put it in regards to the Lakers and the Buss family on how some of that stuff was ran. We'll definitely spend some time on that. How can you not? Obviously, I think that's important to talk about as well. And then just churning the page. What's next for the Lakers? I think that's for a lot of Laker fans out there that are kind of sitting here and they're enjoying this show, or they're taking in as much Lakers content as they can, however they're getting it. I think there's also a big portion of fans that are like, we just kind of want to know, is the team good or is it not? Are you competing for a championship? Are you not? I do think there is going to be some clarity here, and I think this will overall be a good thing that the Lakers are starting to clean house a little bit and run it the way they think it should be ran, and run it also the way a multi-billion-dollar organization will run a business when they take over a company for $10 billion. I got a guest today, Anthony Irwin, who does a really good job. Does some stuff for Clutch Points, does Lakers Lounge as well. It's another YouTube channel that's out there around Lakers basketball. He's going to join. I had him on maybe a month and a half ago or so. Really enjoyed my conversation with him. I really did. I was like, hey, this is great. Never have got a chance to meet Anthony Irwin personally, other than when we were doing the show. So I'm excited to have him back on. Lakers do have a game. They got a game coming up on Sunday, finally, and played since Tuesday. So they finally get back in action on Sunday. We'll spend a little bit of time on that game. Not a crazy amount. I think that's going to be more of a reaction once that game is done on Sunday night. Bronny James goes back to the G League. Something to keep in mind there. Got some NBA news. NBA ratings are up. And then we'll get the weekend preview and we'll get out of here. So thank you all for being here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. And looking forward to it. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see what we have. Haven't you guys seen all the documentaries shows? Buss family has always been a dysfunctional family. We'll talk about it. I think that's, I think that's actually a really, really good, it's a really good thing to point out, because I think if you're looking for less drama, probably going to get less drama with this new ownership group. More about just figuring out ways to win and less in-house fighting or whatever it's called. I think you probably get a little bit closer to that. All right, let's get a couple more of these here. You called us, you said this would be the moves Mark Walter is going to make. Great force. I got to be honest with you. I'm not sure if I called this one. I don't think I did. I'd love to take the credit. The problem is I don't think I said it. I'm not sure. I didn't think, and I think there was no way to know how quick things were going to change. But you knew at some point somebody buys a $10 billion organization, then I think there's, a lot more to it than that. Okay, let's get started here. I'll look at some of the comments in a little bit. Like this one we'll come back to. Dysfunction, Housley, you sound like you're spreading the narrative. Okay. All right. We'll talk about it. I got no narrative to spread. I hope you guys know me good enough by now that I don't have a dog in the fight. I enjoy doing what I do, and I like giving my own opinion on it. But there's no narratives to be spread. But I will read you some quotes, which I would say probably indicate a little bit of dysfunction. So we'll do that from some of the stuff that we got yesterday. Okay, last comment I'm going to do here, and then we'll keep rolling here. Quote, being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. Oof, phenomenal. Good stuff right there. Okay, we know what went down yesterday. So I mentioned I'm at the Lakers training facility and getting ready. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I'm like, all right, okay, solid. Lakers practice today. Get out there, see what this looks like. I've been to practices before, so it's not like it's the first time or any of that stuff, but it's just I haven't been to one this season. So I'm looking forward to it. Pretty cool. Every time you walk into El Segundo and you're sitting there and it's just says all the details that it has there. It's a Los Angeles Lakers UCLA training facility. You got these 3 monitors that are awesome that are just playing old highlights of Lakers basketball. I saw one was Derek Fisher hitting that 3 against the Orlando Magic. And what was that? Game 4. Lakers should have lost that game, down 5 late. They end up taking the game to overtime, and Lakers end up winning the game. But they got these monitors up. They got this unbelievable portrait / painting that's there of all the Lakers history. So it's cool to be there. Waiting before they call us to say, hey, you can come, start interviewing some of the players. And the news goes down. The news comes out. I heard some other people talking about it. I go on Twitter as well. I look at Shams, and Shams says, yep, Joey and Jesse Buss out Lakers front office. And then a few minutes later, most of the scouting department out in the Lakers front office. Listen, I did a video on this and I put it up on YouTube yesterday. So hopefully you guys got a chance to watch it. And I played a clip there from Shams and everything else. Let me just kind of go through real quick my thoughts on this. And I'm not surprised by this, but a lot of what I felt like I noticed yesterday was a lot of people that were out there who were also giving their opinion. And I'm talking about those that watched my video on YouTube. I don't know how many people are going to lose sleep over the Lakers making front office changes, if I'm being completely honest with you. And it's nothing against Joey Buss, Jesse Buss, against the Buss family. But I think there's a little bit of all right, new ownership came in. If the new ownership did not have the established credibility that they've already built within the city of LA, 5-6 miles away from where Crypto.com Arena is located, then maybe this would be a little bit different. But I think I'm going to read you guys because I put it in here and I did it on purpose. I'm not going to, I won't share the screen with you, but I'm just going to read a couple comments from Laker fans out there of basically what they thought of the news yesterday. I don't care what players the front office got in the past. I care about how many championships we get. I have faith in the new ownership. Okay, here's another one. Times have changed. Running a franchise like a mom and pop shop in this era just doesn't pan out anymore. Looking forward in the development of the new ownership. Here's another one. Let's see what we got here. Some of this talking about Mark Walters being good friends with Magic Johnson. Lakers was a family-run business. It worked in the past. The future showed the Buss family could not compete with groups like Joe Lacob, Goober, obviously Warriors. The family share was extremely well compensated. Mark Walter Holding Company will take this team into the future. Rambis and Pelinkla days are numbered, thank goodness. Okay, so I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is I don't think fans really care. I think fans know that there are wildly deep pockets of an ownership that's coming in that has a track record already and will probably figure out ways to make the Lakers very, very successful again. So I thought the news yesterday, yes, was a little bit of a shock because of the timing. Oh, damn. Okay, so changes are going to come this fast. But I don't think people probably went to sleep last night saying, oh my gosh, the Lakers are in complete disarray. and they have absolutely no shot of cleaning this up or fixing this. Or, man, they got the wrong ownership group, just bought out the Lakers, and you know what they're going to do? They're not going to try to compete. All they're going to try to do is get the shared revenue and call it a day. I don't think anybody's going to say that. So I thought, I think big picture for the Lakers, I think this is a good thing. I do. Because anytime you have, and this is, look, I have on here the dysfunction, and I'll read a couple quotes here that indicate to me that there was definitely problems within that Lakers organization, and I'm talking about just within the family. But anytime you got a family-run business, there are some great qualities to it. It's amazing. I'm sure, you can have. I'm talking about a small company or a small business that has 12 employees. It's family-run. And whatever it is, they make sandwiches, they run an accounting firm or something like that. You could bring the kids, you got the dog playing around like that. It's cool. It's unique. It's what makes, it gives character to a business. If you're the Los Angeles Lakers, do you really need a family-owned business at this stage of what that brand is? Probably not. I mean, you're going to tell me that the Cowboys are better off with Jerry Jones. You're going to tell me that the Cowboys are better off with a group that is worth X amount of $1 billion and knows exactly what to do and knows how to run businesses and companies. I mean, we can all kind of, I think it served very, very well for the Lakers. I think Dr. Jerry Buss is one of the greatest owners in the history of sports, period. But this isn't Dr. Jerry Buss anymore. It's his family. It's his kids. And this is some of the dysfunction that I was talking about, all right? Here's one quote here. Jesse Buss, who had a really good interview with Dan Weike of The Athletic, said that he's had zero communication with Jayne or general manager Rob Pelinka. His exact quote, "I haven't spoken to either of them in 5 months." He also added that he was treated as an enemy. Now, that's part of a longer conversation, but I think the conversation was almost as if his word really didn't matter anymore in regards to, obviously anything that the organization was maybe respecting, if you want to put it. Here's another quote from Jesse Buss. Yeah, Jayne informed me that there would be a vote on the sale of the team, and with Rob, he just informed me of who would be drafting, which is pretty consistent with how it's gone in the last couple of years. By the way, I'm not here to tell you that, this is wrong or this is right. I don't know what goes on within those doors. I understand Jesse and Joey, who probably really, really wanted to keep the organization within the family. And, Jayne's stance might have been the franchise is better off without us than with us. But she stays within the organization, and obviously Jesse and Joey Buss do not. So something to also keep in mind. The only other quote that I mentioned yesterday, which was the quote that kind of stuck out to me the most, is when he said, Dr. Buss's idea was for Joey and I to run basketball operations one day, but Jayne has effectively kept herself in place with her siblings fired. That is what I meant by some of the dysfunction within the family. And I think, right out the gate, when you start reading some of these quotes and you kind of get the full scope of what the story is, doesn't that also tell you that they probably really needed some change as well? I mean, how many different times have we had conversations and it's like, hey, what's Linda Rambis's job or Kurt Rambis's job or something along those lines? Like I said, it was very, very, very family owned. And if there's a ownership group that you are kind of handing the keys to, sounds like this is the right ownership group for the Lakers long term. So we'll see what eventually happens. But that's obviously the big news yesterday. And I think I could already see in some of the comments, I think for a lot of Laker fans, there is some excitement of, hey, what could this potentially look like? Can they go out there and get the best scouts in the entire NBA? What is this? What kind of shakeup now happens to the front office and moving forward? So certainly new ownership group has already started to make some changes, and I don't blame them. It's their team, and it's worth there's a valuation of $10 billion that they paid. At some point, they could obviously do whatever the heck they want. Okay, let me bring in our guest. Very excited to have him on for the second time and enjoyed our first conversation. Anthony Irwin.
How you doing, bud?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. Nice quiet day for the Lakers.
Always quiet.
11-4 start. Everything's going great.
Yep. If
Something happened?
it's only about, how Lakers go, and how basketball goes for this organization. It's only about the basketball. There's never any side stories. Never any side stories. What was your I was just explaining the story, and I haven't got a chance, and I'm not at the Lakers facility for every practice or anything like that, but I was there yesterday, and I'm there waiting, and just kind of explain that while I'm waiting is when the news went down. So it's like, what happened? I don't know what I'm going to see. I don't know how this works. It's like,
Did Jesse and Joey walk out with a box?
that's so funny. I was just going to say, like, I'm looking around. I'm like, is there a security guard walking them to their car? What the hell is happening? I don't know how it happened while I'm here, but that's the news goes down. What was your initial thoughts when you heard it? Were you surprised? Did you think, oh yeah, this makes all the sense in the world? Just your initial thoughts.
I would say that I was somewhat surprised, definitely not shocked, right? I thought before the season, Jesse and Joey announced that they're starting this company.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think if you are going to head a department as important as scouting is for a team, that you can have like a side gig, right? Not very many GMs / podcasters out there, and so I kind of took from that, oh, something's probably coming. Did I think it was going to happen a couple months later in the middle of a season as the Lakers get off to this exciting start? Absolutely not. I would have thought this would be an off-season conversation or something like that. But I was kind of thinking about it overnight, and since recording a bunch yesterday. And this is kind of the time that you would maybe shake up your scouting department a little bit, right? This is when college basketball is in full force, and you can bring in the best people there, to watch that, and you can bring in pro scouts, something that the Lakers haven't had, a specific pro scouting division. So this is as kind of somewhat surprising as this feels like a real opportunity.
Yeah, I think for me, it was more just the timing. Like, I don't think there's the shock of like, oh my gosh, they got rid of a couple members of the Bus family who no longer have a majority stake of the team and also hold an incredibly important role for the franchise, right? I mean, I know we might not talk about it all the time because we might be reacting to a game, or we might be, what player they're going to go get in free agency, this and that. We don't have to tell somebody how important a scouting department is. And I'm sure as they start to identify, they take ownership of the team, eventually it gets approved. I'm sure they've been working in the background now for, obviously months. Hey, what in a perfect scenario, what does this position look like? What does that role look like? And they'll just go down the list. Scouting's got to be very, very high on that list. And this group, at least this is the way they come off to me. They come off to me saying, yeah, what are the best scouts in the world? Can you give us maybe 3 to 5 kind of options to go to? And we're not getting past that before we address the scouting department. Okay. And then now let's go look at another position. They can't go do what they've done in baseball and kind of how they've strategically spent and everything that they've been able to do with really show their power with just the paycheck. I mean, it's not that they don't have power in other places. The Dodgers obviously ran very well, but one of the biggest strengths is we could spend as much money as we want, go get anybody. They can't do that with the Lakers, and you can't do that in the NBA. So the scouting department becomes a very critical piece. For me, it was just how quick will the changes come, and the changes obviously came yesterday.
Yeah, this was kind of interesting in that Jesse and Joey, we'd always kind of deduced that they were the two no votes on the Lakers being sold in the first place. So if you're Mark Walter, in your first introduction in this new partnership with the Bus family, is these two dudes saying like, "Nah, we don't want you here." If I'm Mark Walter, I'm probably like looking for a reason to get rid of them. With Jesse saying that he and Jeannie hadn't spoken in months, that makes it even easier for this decision to, so like if you're going into a situation where there's a possibility you might be replaced, or you like Jesse and Joey weren't surprised by yesterday's news. So if you aren't going, like if you're going into it and you know that this is a possibility, I would perhaps talk to my sister and my boss, and I would make sure that there's a better line of communication between Rob Pelinka and myself. And instead they went out and formed an entirely new company. And so I thought that was kind of telling of these guys saw the writing on the wall. I think they've actually used that phrase, had a foot out of the door anyway. And now everybody starts rowing in the right direction, or in the same direction. The thing that I'm really curious about here, Alan, and I want to bounce this off of you, literally something I was thinking about while I was setting up to come on your show. The last time that there was a power vacuum by way of a public high-level departure, Rob Pelinka just stepped into the power vacuum, right? Jeannie Buss had the opportunity after Magic Johnson stepped away. There was plenty of intrigue. The Lakers had LeBron James. They looked like they were about to trade for Anthony Davis. They had a pretty nice young core surrounding LeBron, even if they didn't trade for AD. Like they were going in the right direction. There was plenty. I've heard everybody from Masai Ujiri, Bob Myers, and a few other like high level names were interested in that gig. And rather than even interviewing anybody, Jeannie just handed the keys over to Rob. And this is where I am really like, this is the first test to me of this new Lakers era, where there's a right thing for them to do. Like you're talking about, go out and get the best scouts, open up the organization that has been so insulated for years, and bring in people from all over the league, hell, all over the globe to bolster your organization and utilize Mark Walter's resources. And if they don't do that and instead double down on the approach that they took after Magic Johnson left, that would make me pretty worried about the direction that the Lakers will be going in. Do you think I'm overthinking this?
I think if the Lakers didn't trade for Luka and Rob wasn't involved in that, and let's say had the roster they had last year currently, and I'm talking about with Anthony Davis and with LeBron, and you just see a dead end coming. Like this is going nowhere.
Jeannie has said that they were like just playing out the strip.
Oh yeah. And by the way, like I think most Laker fans were saying to themselves, what happens after this? And there wasn't this comfort level of, well, just hand the keys over to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis kept throwing the keys back. Like he's like, hey, yeah, I take it some nights, but I really like being the passenger at times. Other times I like driving.
Like dodging the keys. Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. Dodging the keys. Throwing it to the valet. I don't know what he's doing. But clearly I think where they sit today, I think you have to at least give Rob Pelinka, I would say minimum 1 year. What does the next year look like for Rob Pelinka? And there is a little put up or shut up. And I think this is the most important thing, whether, Anthony, they got rid of Rob Pelinka tomorrow or they kept him for 5 years because he was having success. I think this new ownership is, brother, you're on the clock. Like, money doesn't mean anything to us. It costs us money to have the wrong person in your position.
Yes.
So
that's a great way to put it.
So he, I was looking at this before the show started too, because just to make sure here. So Pelinka did sign a contract extension, if you remember. That happened.
JJ's.
There you go. Okay, so that happened not too far after, obviously after the Luka trade and everything else. But I think this is what happens when you have this type of ownership group. I think the new ownership group can look at the situation today and say, listen, do we want to have this much turbulence right now? Do we want to have the team's off to a good start? Luka just got here. He signs a long contract extension. We got a ton of flexibility for next year. The Lakers aren't in an awful position here. LeBron, okay, we'll find out what LeBron does, but they also didn't commit long-term or anything. He's on the books this year. We'll see what happens. I think the bigger the bigger headache would have been, I don't think they can get rid of Rob Pelinka because he's a friend of the franchise, and he's comes from the Kobe branch, and then Jayne is really close to him. I think Rob Pelinka now understands, okay, if I don't have really tremendous success over the next couple of years, I lose my job. And I don't know if you got that if it was still the Buss family as ownership. So I think either way, whatever they do, I think they will do the right thing based on what that position, if the person is living up to that position or not.
You're a Padres fan, right?
I am a Padres fan. Yep.
So the reason I ask is because I covered the Dodgers when Mark Walter and his group had bought the Dodgers. I was running Dodgers Nation at the time. I was covering them when they hired Dave Roberts, and they brought in some like 15 candidates that they were interviewing to make sure that they got the right guy. And one of the things that they did, or that Mark Walter did, was when he first took over, Ned Colletti was the GM, Don Mattingly was the manager. And they basically said to those guys, we're just going to watch. We're just going to see how you guys are living. We're going to see how you guys run things. And eventually arrived at the conclusion, Ned, thank you for your service. Why don't you go work for Spectrum? And then Don Mattingly, Mr. Baseball, really appreciate your thoughts on the sport, all the stuff. Best of luck in Miami. And I kind of feel like, history can kind of tell us about the future. And I think I'm backing up your point basically here. It's like they are probably going to give Rob and Jayne and that whole crew, the Ramby, and the people that they want to work with, a 3 to 4 year grace period, I would say, where they're gonna see how they're living. They're gonna probably invest more resources into the infrastructure of the Lakers organization. And then after 3-4 years here, they'll take a look at how things have gone, specifically with Luka, and make their decision on Rob and Jayne and so forth. Now, one little detail that has popped up recently is that Mark Walter was actually asked about that grace period that he gave Ned Colletti and Don Mattingly. And he's on the record saying he wished he hadn't have waited so long, that he didn't feel like his first however many years with the Dodgers were as successful as they needed to be, and that they arrived where they are now too slowly. And so that being the lesson that he took from his initial stages with the Dodgers, if I'm Rob Pelinka and I'm Jayne Buss and I want to keep my jobs, that is not the quote that I want to hear. I'd be a little nervous. So some interesting dynamics at play for sure.
It's a really good comp. And I think a lot of people that are on the chat or they watch this later or whatever the case is, I think we all understand that any successful business, it does start at the top. So if I'll stay with the Padres, we're talking about these analogies. The Padres were just recently, it's like they're going to be looking for a new owner. This came out in the last 1 or 2 weeks. It could potentially be the most important stretch for that franchise's organization. It's no different than when McCourt was forced to sell, who was going to take over the franchise and the team. And hypothetically, if it wasn't this ownership group that took over, there's a reason why you're having the success that you are if you're a Dodger fan and you're sitting back and you're like, okay, well, the season hasn't started. We already won the division. It's like, all right, do we have a bye in the, are they playing in the divisional round or are they not? There's certain things that you can already kind of check off the list. But I think what you said about the front office, them saying that we could have waited, or we shouldn't have waited as long, that's an interesting way to put it, because yeah, I mean, up until 2020 and even past 2020, it's like, yeah, they're good every year, but they're not cashing it in. And now, obviously, they've been on these last 5 years. They certainly have cashed it in, but there was a little bit of like, how come they don't have more World Series titles? And now it's like, well, that's the bar that they set. Lakers have already kind of had that bar for themselves for a long time, but it has not been met since Dr. Jerry Buss passed away. And obviously, the current Buss family, they have they got one chip in 2020, but there's nothing really been all that consistent. So I think the thing we could agree with and I think most people would probably agree with, the new ownership does mean the future for the Lakers, I think, will be brighter than it's been in a while. And I'm talking about sustained success. So we'll see what that eventually means. But I think there are a lot of people today that are more on the clock than they were a year ago. And you could just use that example of what just happened to the entire scouting department over the last 24 hours.
Well, I think I love that term that you were the phrase that you said, define the success. The Lakers basically under Rob and Jeannie have basically used title or bust as a bit of a shield, right? Where there is no nuance. Progress is ignored. We either won a championship or we didn't. We can either win a championship or we can't. And if they start a season and they don't feel like they're going to win it, they can win a championship. They tend to not do anything. So you have like a series of kind of idle seasons, right? You look at the way that the Oklahoma City Thunder are put together. There was never any idle season. There was always a goal in mind. We are in resource acquisition mode. We are in resource utilization mode, or somewhere in between. And you arrive in a spot now where with the Lakers, you only, despite not having a ton of recent success. Yeah, they were in the Western Conference Finals, but they've also missed the playoffs a handful of years as well recently, despite having LeBron and AD. Like if you're going to miss the playoffs, you got to walk away from that season with something, right? It's the Denzel meme. I'm going to leave here with something. And there have been too many seasons where I feel like the Lakers were kind of okay with, that happened. Mm-hmm. And that just can't continue.
Okay. So one of the positive things, and I know a lot of the conversation just because of what happened yesterday is about the topics of new ownership and everything else, and what the changes to the front office. It kind of did take us away a little bit from the 11-4 start for the Lakers.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, 11-4, and if you look at the Western Conference, I was looking at the standings a little bit earlier. The standings are weird. I mean, I think the Clippers at 4-11 or something like that are a game out of the number 10 spot. Like, you could have that bad of a record and still be in the top 10. Anyways, the whole West is confusing. What are some of the stuff? I want to treat LeBron's first game separately. What are some of the things that have really stood out to you so far for the Lakers to be 11-4? Some positives, and then maybe some areas too that you say, man, they're really going to have to clean this up or clean that up if this is going to be sustained.
Yeah, I think it all kind of starts with vibes to me. This is a very together group, and I think it all starts with DeAndre Ayton and the season he's having, and the very clear support that the Lakers are offering him and really showing him. You had JJ Redick wearing a DeAndre Ayton shirt with his face superimposed onto a lion's head, and he's wearing his number in the back and the Bahamian flag and all that stuff. And I think everybody kind of recognized, if we're going to have the kind of season that we know that we are capable of, that is impossible, objectively impossible, if we don't have DeAndre Ayton playing it at as high a level as he can realistically play. And I think for the most part, Ayton has done basically everything that the Lakers have asked of him. Was anybody realistically hoping that he would turn into Nikola Jokic? Of course not. Mm-hmm. But he's rebounding the basketball. More often than not, he's trying defensively. He's running the floor. He's setting great screens. That's the thing that I've really enjoyed watching Ayton so far this season. And I think that has been kind of the starting point that opened up the rest of the kind of season that the Lakers are having. Luka could always put up numbers basically no matter what kind of a team he is playing on. Austin Reeves is also the kind of offensive talent who I think can also make the best out of a bad situation, almost no matter what is going on. But for the Lakers to sit now at 11-4, 3 losses back of the Oklahoma City Thunder, that happens because Ayton is fully invested. I think Rui has been really good. Marcus Smart has been as good as you could possibly hope for. The surrounding parts, the gambles, frankly, that the Lakers made in the offseason are all paying off in the green.
Is this is this who they are? Like I'm not saying they're going to win 11 of every 15 games. I'm not telling you that they'll be 22-8 by the time you're 30 games in or anything like that. But how do you feel like this is? No. This is a sustainable. What they're doing is something they can repeat on a night in, night out basis. They probably only get better because something happened on what day was that? Tuesday. That never happens. Lakers were fully healthy. That doesn't happen. I mean, maybe that's a league wide thing, but how confident are you that we can be sitting here in a month from now and still saying, yeah, they're top 3, top 4 in the West?
I mean, this was a 50-win team last year,
Sure,
and it added Luka Doncic in better shape, and it added a real center to the group. And I think on top of it, that was with a rookie coach, not a rookie NBA coach, but a rookie coach. JJ Redick's only other experience was like little league ball, and so
they killed it. They killed it in Little League.
I'm sure they did. I could see JJ Redick being like on the referees in those games.
Yeah, I could see him, if we're saying in Little League, and just we'll use the baseball reference. I could see him getting thrown out in a 3rd inning game of like a 24 game schedule, and it's game 7. I could see him getting thrown out. Sure.
Yeah, I could 100%. Come on, Blue. The umpire's like 13 years old.
Asking if there's video replays. No, JJ, there's not video replays.
Exactly. 100%. But yeah, like he has been, I think, better than he was last year. The rest of his coaching staff was relatively young too.
Yeah.
That surrounded him. I think they have been better this year. So a 50-win team had all these avenues to get better. And so far, those avenues have proven fruitful. And by the way, they just added LeBron James. So, and it was funny. I used this analogy last night with Raj on the show, but the way that LeBron played that game kind of reminded me of that scene in The Matrix where one of the characters has to learn how to fly a helicopter, and she's like, calls back to HQ. Hey, I need to learn how to fly this Comanche S7. And they're like, okay, uploaded. And she just kind of like shakes her head and, all right, I can fly this helicopter. That was like LeBron figuring out, what does this team need from me?
Yeah.
I'm actually out here on a court. I can actually see what's going on here. Okay, they need me to be Rajon Rondo gone Hulk mode. And he had those 5 straight assists. I thought the game turned in that stretch.
Big time.
And they absolutely blew the doors off of Utah from that point forward. And now that LeBron kind of has that understanding of what the Lakers need from him, I think this offense, they scored 140 points on the Utah Jazz, who obviously no defensive juggernaut, but 140 points while they were kind of sleepwalking through the first half. Mm-hmm. So I think this team is really good.
Yeah, it's interesting when you say the LeBron will just kind of do whatever you need him to do. I've always thought that's LeBron anyways. Like, I think the way people are watching him right now, and LeBron ends up with 12 assists, and what does the team need? I mean, just think about LeBron last year when Luka got here. Didn't he already start playing that role of, especially as you got, closer to the playoffs and in the postseason, okay, I got to play the 5, I'll play the 5. You need me to play the 4, play the 4. But that's one of the reasons why LeBron is one of the greatest players I'll ever watch in my life, is because every time he stepped on the floor, he orchestrated everything. Now, what's unique about him playing with Luka is I don't have to have the ball in my hands the way I used to orchestrate everything. But LeBron was never one of those selfish players that it's like, well, I'm going to get mine. No, he just happened to be 265, the body of Karl Malone, the passing of Magic Johnson, the scoring. Yeah. He's just this.
Basketball Frankenstein.
I could just do everything. So just give me the damn ball. Everybody will eat and we'll have a lot of success. It's been interesting to watch him, a little bit off the ball. Big picture. And I think with Bron, big picture, Yes, like you mentioned, it is the Utah Jazz, and the competition is going to get better. What are you most looking forward to as kind of the rest of the season unfolds? What are you most excited about? And I'll just tell you, like for me, I can't wait when what's that Denver matchup look like? What's that
Yeah.
Houston matchup look like? We saw a little bit of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder are, give them all the credit in the world. I take nothing away from the Oklahoma City. They're the defending champs. They've done everything, and they're a level above everybody. But I'm really looking forward to some specific matchups. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, those calendar circle games are really, like, I'm really intrigued by the Oklahoma City Thunder matchup now with LeBron, because like the one thing that the Lakers did in that game was the one thing they couldn't, which was turn the ball over. They turned the ball over way too much against OKC, and it was an avalanche immediately. LeBron's going to help with that. And I think specifically LeBron and Luka's ability to throw skip passes over the top of OKC's defense is something that I think the Lakers can take real advantage of. So I'm with you 100% on those highlighter matchups. To me, just how good can this offense be?
Hmm.
And just how, the number one thing I'm watching for is, JJ Redick said before the season he got together with Sean McVay and he talked about the utility plays that McVay runs. If it's 3rd and 4 and they need to get, those 4 or 5 yards, he's going to involve Kyron Williams. He's going to involve Puka Nacua. He's going to involve Devontae Adams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's going, like, he's good. And so, like, for the Lakers, JJ Redick, I'm really curious to see what those utility plays look like. Those plays where the Lakers absolutely need a bucket, and they're going to involve Luka and Austin and LeBron to some extent in the same set. Those are the plays that, come playoff time, when you need to rear back and throw your 102-mile-an-hour fastball. That's what I'm really looking for the Lakers to build out, and that identity, whatever it is that they land on with those 3 guys. That's what I can't wait to see kind of develop over the course of the next, whatever it is, 58 games or whatever.
Final one, brother, and I appreciate the time. Looking forward to next week. I'll come join you on
Absolutely
on
Wednesday
Lakers Lounge. So I'm looking forward to that. The West, just kind of taking a look at the Western Conference, we've got a chance to see. I think there were some questions in the beginning of, hey, how are the Rockets going to be without Fred VanVleet? They're a pretty damn good team with or without him. We'll see what happens. How's Denver going to mix with some of their offseason acquisitions? Yeah, they're fine. As you look at the Western Conference, you look at maybe those top 5 teams or so. Any surprises to you, or maybe teams that are better than you thought?
Houston surprises me. The fact that they have the best offense in the sport is really kind of surprising, in that, they added Kevin Durant, but when I thought of Houston's roster, they didn't scream best offense in the league to me. Maybe they fall off, but I just didn't think they would be elite to this level. And when you're that good offensively and you have the length and athleticism that they have defensively, that's going to be a tough team to deal with. Look, OKC, they're a buzzsaw, and they are the team that, they're the rabbit in the race. They're the ones everybody is chasing and stuff. So they look to be even better this year than they were last year. And then Denver, Denver got out to this really good start, 11-3. Their offense also looks really good. Their half-court offense especially looks excellent. And that's with Christian Brown has shot the ball poorly so far this season, and Cam Johnson has shot the ball poorly this season. So how good could they possibly be when their guys start hitting at a higher level? Crazy thing is, I think the Lakers can be right there, at least offensively, with those teams. Defensively, real concerns. I'm the starting group looked really slow the other night,
Sure.
and I think they're going to need to figure out a way to add some foot speed here. But at least on one side of the ball, I think the Lakers are as good as any team at the top of the league and at the top of the conference. And it actually really kind of breaks in their favor, where there are a couple more easier nights over the course of the season than we thought they were going to be, right? The Clippers stink. The Memphis Grizzlies are terrible, right? The Mavericks are really bad. The Kings are really bad. That's a handful of
Pelicans,
games. Yeah, like
Jazz, yeah.
yeah, like going into the season, I was like, dang, there's going to be like 13 really good teams. And it's nice that we've arrived at a place where there are going to be some games where the Lakers can maybe rest their guys in the fourth quarter. That's not something that we thought we were going to be able to see in the West.
Yeah, I think I've said, I think for the past like 5 years, I've always said, I think they get a chance to rest their guys in the fourth quarter. I'm 0 for 5 as far as years ago here.
Yeah.
Anthony, great stuff, brother. I appreciate the insight. Looking forward to hanging out with you next Wednesday as well. But thank you for hopping on the show. All right.
Always hoping, always happy to get the invite, man.
All right. Thank you, man. We'll see, or have a good weekend. We'll see you on Wednesday. All right. That is Anthony Irwin right there. All right. Good stuff from him. You know what I like stylistically? My conversations with him, just a nice, smooth conversation. I like that. Obviously, very knowledgeable, and he's doing a good job on YouTube as well. So I'm enjoyed that conversation. Hopefully, you guys did as well. Okay, so a couple things to take away from that. The Pelinka piece is interesting to me. The Pelinka piece is interesting. I think what he was saying about Rob. For those who don't know, let me give you guys just those details here real quick. I'll start looking at some of the comments as well. I know, but I was looking April 18th, 2025. Lakers signed Rob Pelinka to contract extension as president and GM. Jeannie Buss said, for 8 seasons, I've relied on Rob's vision and leadership to do what's best for the organization. I value his partnership and professionalism and believe in his ability to deliver championship caliber basketball for Los Angeles and Laker fans everywhere. Pelinka joined the team 2017. Okay, it goes on. Okay. So, this is an interesting conversation in itself because I think what Anthony and I were talking about, look, some people might go out there and say, oh, hey, Pelinka's on the clock. Some people might say JJ's on the clock. Some people might say Jeannie's on the clock. I don't know, I'm just making things up here. I think everyone's on the clock. Guys, have you ever been a part of an organization? I have. And that's not too long ago too, actually kind of recent, where a new ownership group takes over the company that you're working for. Changes happen. Of course, that's part of the mix. And they start kind of looking and analyzing. Stylistically, I do think his comp about the Dodgers is a great comp, but I also think that's the right way to do business. You don't just come in and make sweeping changes everywhere because you got an ego and you want to let everybody know I'm the boss. You let the dust settle. We're excited to have you all here. We think we can all grow together. And then you kind of behind the scenes and get in the weeds and start figuring out what's working and what's not. Like what individuals are performing for this company, what are not. What individuals bring great chemistry to the organization. They always have new ideas. They're excited when they come in. They have good they're always positive. Like that these are all the part of the analysis that you go through if you're a business owner and you're taking over a company. Rob Pelinka bought himself time because he traded for Luka Doncic. If the Lakers are not doing well a year from now or 2 years from now, or people feel like, where the hell is this organization going? Then Rob Pelinka won't be working there anymore. He just won't. And I don't think his contract matters. I think that's the thing where, people get stuck sometimes. You get new ownership that comes in and you start asking the question, all right, well, they can't spend the way they did, or they can't spend the way they do in baseball in the NBA. Well, they can spend however they want in the front office and in the scouting department and the president of basketball operations and coaching. Let me just give you guys a random example. Let me give you an example. Okay. Let's say in a year from now, Rob Pelinka is just not getting the job done and you don't like the direction of the franchise. And the new ownership, who does have deep pockets, comes in and says, here's a check. We need you to go walk away. You're out. We pay you out. Okay, let's, we'll write that off. That's done. Let's go get Masai Ujiri. Just use an example. Masai Ujiri is somebody that has been considered top 5, or Bob Myers is available. And you're like, let's go get Bob Myers. What this ownership group can do is they can say, we're going to stop throwing money towards an individual that's just not getting the job done. We're now going to go throw money towards a different investment, and that's going to be a new president of basketball operations. They're all on the clock. If JJ Redick in a year from now or a year and a half, I don't care how long his extension is, if they say this is not the right guy for the job, maybe they'll give him more and more opportunities. Maybe JJ isn't the best example, but maybe it is a perfect example. Let's say Lakers get to the playoffs again, and clearly JJ Redick is outcoached in the postseason. You don't think there's going to be ownership saying that's 2 years in a row he's been in the playoffs and he's actually hurt our franchise and our team? Everyone's on the clock. Why wouldn't they be? And I think yesterday was just a little bit of an indication of that. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments here and we'll keep things rolling here. All right, let's see what we got here. We need to bring Nico to the Lakers. I mean, here's a Nico shot if I've ever seen one. Close that window there. Had some fresh air coming in. Bob Myers is not that good. And I'm not here to try to make, a case that it needs to be Bob Myers. The point I'm just making is the concept of it. I think the concept of it is more what I'm referring to, whether that's a Masai Ujiri. I mean, let me throw another random, okay, just let me throw a random example here. I wouldn't be shocked if new ownership group came in and said, okay, write down on a sheet of paper the top 3 president of basketball operations in the entire NBA. Who are those 3? And of course, one of those 3 is going to be Sam Presti. I wouldn't be surprised if they have on a notepad there, hey, in a perfect world, is there any way Sam Presti would ever come to the Los Angeles Lakers? All right, well, what if we gave, as somebody's saying here, a blank check? That's what this ownership group can do. And I'm not telling you that's going to happen. And I'm not telling you that Sam Presti would have any interest in the Lakers. But what I'm telling you is the concept of going out there and saying, find me the best in the business. Is he available? And the conversation is, no, that guy doesn't want the job. Sounds good. Who's the second best in the business? Is he available? No, that guy doesn't want the job. Find me the third one. They're going to find somebody that's top 5 in the NBA. It is the Lakers. It's not the Sacramento Kings. It's not the Phoenix Suns. It's not the Charlotte Hornets. It's not the go down the list. It's one of the most prestigious franchises in all of sports. Prestigious in the name, prestigious in the logo. Everybody recognizes it. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I do think that, like I said, I think there's for me, I don't think what happened yesterday was a bad thing. I think what happened yesterday was, there's new owners in town, and new owners are going to try to do things their way. So we'll see what eventually happens. Obviously when it comes to Rob Pelinka, but I think there's some truth to everybody's on the clock. Everybody. I don't think these guys are going to walk in and say, what would be awesome is if the Lakers got past the first round. That'd be fun. No, what they're going to say is, how do they win a championship? And then we sell all that merch, and then we had the parade, and we got that. That's how they're going to look at it. I know every team looks at it that way, but these are business owners that already have a model of wild success. All right, let's keep going here. Oh, geez. I kind of went on a tangent there. I didn't even know I was going to go that long on a tangent. Do you guys know Lakers got a game coming up? Yes, they do. Lakers got a game finally. What is this, the All-Star break? What the hell happened here? They play a game on Tuesday, then they don't play a game again till Sunday. So Lakers got the Jazz, by the way, coming up on Sunday. I'm looking forward. I'm going to kind of give you guys why I'm looking forward to this game. First off, I like it because they go on the road. Second, I like it is because we got a little bit of taste with LeBron. Now we get a little bit more of an opportunity. I also like it because the Lakers are finally healthy. So you can start watching a team that is probably just going to start looking more and more like themselves, or at least the capability that they have. I was at Lakers practice yesterday, and I asked Luka, kind of got the reporter scrum right there, and I asked him, does he think he knows what the Lakers ceiling is, or is it tough to kind of predict that right now, just basically based on they haven't had their full team. LeBron just came back. And he said it's tough to give an answer on a ceiling because the ceiling is competing for an NBA championship. And that's kind of the goal. Like, there is no other goal. If you're talking about what's the ultimate for us is we win an NBA championship. That's what's missing from Luka's resume. So, of course, that's going to be his goal and everything else. All right, let's keep going here. Let's keep going here. All right, let me get some more kind of. I kind of went on a tangent. Lakers and the Jazz. So that game's coming up on Sunday. I will be doing a post-game show to that, 5 p.m. tip-off, by the way, so something to keep in mind. And we just saw the Jazz, so I don't think there's too much to break down. We'll just let that game be. But just know that there finally is a game that we can react to coming up on Sunday. So Sunday night, I'll do a post-game show. Monday, I'll come back and do a show as well. I have not figured out my schedule yet for next week. I know I won't be doing a show Thursday morning. May not do a show Friday morning either, but I will do a post-game show on Friday night because I know the Lakers play Friday night. I don't know if you guys saw this. Lakers guard Bronny James heading to play for South Bay Lakers in the G League. Nothing wrong with that. I got no issue with that at all. I think that there are times for Bronny where this is very advantageous for him to go get some real run down there. 11 G League appearances last season. Bronny averaged 22 points, 5.5 assists, 5 rebounds, and 1.9 steals per game. Can I tell you, for the G League, who's got tremendous talent in there, those are phenomenal numbers from him. Just great, great numbers from him. So good stuff right there. But something to keep in mind in regards to, like I said, that will be going down as far as the G League goes. Something to keep in mind there. All right, if I missed any of your comments, my apologies. Today has been a little bit busy. And when you have a guest on, you're really, really just trying to kind of pay attention to the guest. And I like my conversation that I was having there. So feel free, if there's a time now to start putting in your comments, start putting in your comments. So this will be the time to start doing that. So feel free to do so, and we can go from there. As I kind of set that up, I want to give a shout out to one of our partners as well. So thank you to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm, who's been a phenomenal partner. Was texting with Brad yesterday, working on some cool things outside of just what we're doing here. So injury attorneys that represent the entire state of California, serious injury, wrongful death case. He can help. WallaceWins.com/Sliwa. I hope you don't need him. I hope you don't have a family member or a friend, or you've been in a situation where you don't even know where to start. You're not 100% sure what to do. But what I can tell you is, if you are in a predicament, I'm sure it's daunting, it's intimidating, the whole thing. Get to an expert. Get to somebody that understands the situation. Get to somebody that can give you advice. Get to somebody that can point you in the right direction. And there's nobody better in the business who can do that than Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. You might have a lot of injury attorneys screaming for your attention. I can tell you from personal experience, and somebody that has a phenomenal relationship with the owner of the company, you won't be happier than what he'll bring to the table, and obviously how he can help and look out for people that are listeners of the show. WallaceWins.com/Sliwa. WallaceWins.com/Sliwa. Okay, got a couple things left here to do, and then we'll call it a day. Solid week, busy week this week. I got NBA news that I want to hit on here real quick. I'll look at some of your guys' comments. We'll do a little bit of a weekend preview, and then we'll call it a day. Life just keeps getting worse for the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento Kings star. This is something that Shams put out yesterday. I really like Domantas Sabonis. I'm actually rooting for that guy to get out of Sacramento because I don't know what's going on over there. Domantas Sabonis has suffered a partially torn meniscus in his left knee and will be reevaluated in 3 to 4 weeks, sources tell ESPN. So it just keeps getting worse. I'm going to share with you guys because we're going to have this conversation. I'm going to bring up a couple of teams here. It just keeps getting worse for the Sacramento Kings. And, a team that just got a new coach, and you thought, all right, that maybe Doug Christie will be able to kind of pump some life into these players. Ain't happening. Look where the Sacramento Kings are. Look at the West. The Kings are 3-13. They've lost 8 in a row. Look how crazy the West is. Anthony and I were just talking about this, and I think he brings up a great point. Didn't you think in the Western Conference, initially you're saying to yourself, like, oh my gosh, the West is going to be so stacked. Every time that you play a game, it's going to be a tough matchup, everything else. That's not how the West is playing out. The Blazers are 6-9. By the way, the Blazers got off to a good start. That's over. The Jazz are 5-9. Memphis is 5-11. Go all the way down. Look at the Clippers. The Clippers are 4-11. They're going to blow things up. They should. Dallas is 4-12. Sacramento's 13-13. And the Pelicans 2-13. Guys, half of the Western Conference is well below 500. Well below 500. or 8 teams that are above 500 and 7 teams that are below 500. The West is not what we thought it was going to be. So something to keep in mind in regards to that. But what a mess in Sacramento. There's a few teams here with a big time mess. A few teams out there that obviously all have a mess that they're dealing with. So they're just a complete train wreck. All right, let's do the weekend preview here real quick. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Please subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the Wallace firm for sponsoring the weekend preview. WallaceWins.com/Sliwa. I got one more NBA story, and then I got NFL and NCAA, and we're out of here. NBA sees highest opening month viewership in 15 years. National NBA games being shown on NBC Peacock, Amazon Prime Video, or ESPN have drawn more than 60 million viewers through the first month of the regular season. The league announced Thursday, noting that it's the highest opening total in 15 years. All right, let me just say this. A lot of this, by the way, they're attributing to the new generation stars: Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards, Victor Wembanyama, Tyrese Maxey, Cooper Flagg, Jalen Brunson, Luka Doncic. NBA League Pass has seen subscriptions rise 10%, with time spent viewing games on the platform up 8%. Listen, a lot of people like to shit on the NBA. All right, if their numbers are up, their numbers are up. I'm watching games. You know, I'm not the right person to ask about this stuff because I'm an NBA fan. I mean, I'm in my car listening to NBA Sirius XM. Like, that's where I am in my NBA world. I love the NBA. But if viewership is up and we're going to demolish the league for low viewership, then we should give them credit when things are up. So certainly up in this first month. Okay, NFL here real quick. I'm just going to point out some of the games to watch for. Bills and the Texans last night. I watched the end of that game. Texans win 23-19. They're 6-5 now, so looked like Texans were dead in the water. They're coming back. Bills are 7-4. Honestly, there aren't that many good games in the NFL this weekend. Steelers and Bears could be good, 6-4 versus 7-3. But a lot of the other teams that are playing each other, they're either teams that are both below 500 or teams that are just average or whatever the case is. Colts Chiefs might be a good game. Colts are 8-2. Chiefs are 5-5. How the hell are the Chiefs 5-5? Find ways to lose this year rather than finding ways to win. Is there any other game? Yeah, the only other game where two teams are above 500 are the Bucks and the Rams. That game's on NBC. That's a Sunday night game. And then the Panthers and the Niners will play each other, a 6-5 team versus a 7-4 team. So nothing too great in the NFL, to be honest with you. And then there's one game or maybe two games to point out in college football. Missouri is ranked number 22 in the country. They're at Oklahoma, who's number 8. And then we got an interesting one here on the West Coast. Number 15 USC goes to number 7 Oregon. If SC can go get a win at Oregon, they're in the playoff conversation. If they lose, then they're out of the playoff conversation. But that's kind of a must-win for USC, but they can put themselves in that playoff conversation if they get a win at number 7 Oregon. So we'll see what happens. That is probably the best game of the weekend as far as the college football goes. Okay, let's read a couple of the comments, and then we're done. Then we're going to get the heck out of here. Nothing's killing viewership. Nothing's killing viewership is up. Listen to what he's saying. Okay. Oregon USC. Yep, got that one in. Still have to sign up for Amazon. Yeah, listen, all these networks, I got to be honest with everybody, it's very, very annoying. Very annoying. All the streaming platforms, very annoying. It's very, very annoying. Slee giving Caleb some love. Well, I was basically the last 2 weeks in a row, I didn't mention him. But listen, if the Bears are 7-3, then they should be mentioned. Slee, where's my coffee? It's coming your way. I'm driving down right now. Right after the show's coming. Right after the show's done, I'm coming to find you. A lot of people were overrating bad moves by Western teams and underrating what Rob did with the Lakers this summer. It's a good point. It's a good point. I got no issues with that. I think that's a good point right there. All right, let's get a couple more in here. Mark Walter can fire Pelinkla if he wants. I'm giving Pelinkla a year. No question about it. Giving him a little bit of time. Listen, look. I mean, I know a lot of people just want to just demolish Rob Pelinka. I think Rob Pelinka's done phenomenal over the last year. I really do. I really do. I think the every move he made in the offseason. I think not extending LeBron and giving him another 1+1 was smart in the offseason. You traded for Luka. I don't care how you got there. You traded for Luka. You signed Luka to an extension. I think he's done a good job over the last year. So I don't really have that much bitching and complaining. Now, if it feels like the organization is going in the wrong direction, that's a different conversation. But as of right now, I don't think that's the case. So I know some people want to give him credit. Some don't. It's all good. But I'm not taking credit away. I think he deserves at least another year, and we'll see what happens after that. All right, my people, thank you very much for coming on. I got to get out of here. Solid week. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for hanging out all week. I'm back on Sunday. We'll do this again after the Lakers take on the Utah Jazz. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday. Enjoy your NFL football, college football, and NBA games. We'll see you on Sunday night.